why the Saints offense could be better than you think in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, off the bench, Jacob Hester, Matt Flynn. Okay, some more positivity. All of a sudden, trickle in. Now that everyone's done talking about the helmets, let's talk about the Saints. Helmets are sweet. All right, relax. Yeah, I mean, the offense, they do have weapons. I think the biggest thing, the focus is going to be on the quarterback, right? Or whoever, the quarterbacks, I guess, to a certain extent. What I want you to focus on is the running game. What I want you to focus on is the offensive line. Don't look at me like that, Matthew. What I want you to focus on is the Saints' scheme, what they want to do. The fact of the matter is, from where I'm sitting at the top of the mountain, it looks like the Saints want to run the football, and it looks like the Saints are built to run the football. And that's a good combination. So I fully expect the Saints to be able to control the game on the ground, to be able to get yardage, pick up first downs, and do all that. And as long as Tyler Shuck or Spencer Rattler or Jay Kaner can manage the game, I think the Saints will be successful offensively. I don't think it'll be, the 2008. I don't think it'll be Drew Brees out there throwing it for 500 yards a game. But do we really need that to happen? No.
Ranking the NFL receiver, tight end, and running back groups for.
Oh, this is the Playmaker. Okay, so we covered this. We did a video on this. This is old Billy Barnwell. This is Billy Barnwell's Playmaker rankings, where the Saints came in not dead last, not 31st, not 30th, not 29th. Okay, so on and so forth. That's what he's referencing.
2025, according to ESPN.com, and it gives you the ranking for this upcoming season. It gives you what it was in 2024 and also what it was in 2023.
Yeah.
So going from 32 down to we get to the New Orleans Saints at 32, the Tennessee Titans at 31, the Carolina Panthers at.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. I've been sitting here for weeks being told how the Panthers were going to be really good. Wait a second. I thought the Panthers were about to win a Super Bowl or win the South. Or isn't Bryce Young really good now? Isn't Chuba Hubbard good? But they drafted Ted McMillan. How can the Panthers be? And who did he say the Titans were 32? I thought they were good. What's going on here?
30, the Patriots. At 29, the Browns. I started to do this list. I'm like, okay. All right, we're getting somewhere. At 28, the Buffalo Bills. God bless Josh Allen. At 27, the New York Jets. At 26, the New York Giants.
Let's go.
I don't know about the Giants, by the way. Like, that seems crazy. The fact that they've got Malik Neighbors, they've got Tyrone Tracy Jr., they've got
answer his own question there. Let me ask you this, Jacob Hester. Would you rather Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall or Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
Theo Johnson, who actually is a good player. I just don't want him in the car. They got Wandale Robinson. They've got some, enough. They got Cam Scadaboo, who they drafted this year, but they're at 26. At 25, the Chicago Bears. And Caleb Williams.
I just love it. I honestly do love this because look at the befuddlement on Matthew's face. Look at the sheer just disbelief when he heard the Bears. Because what have we been told? What have they been saying on Jesus Christ? What have they been saying on Get Up or whatever shows are even on ESPN anymore? The Bears are sweet. The Bears can compete in the NFC. Right? Ben Johnson's a genius. I know those names. I know those players' names. Oh yeah, the Bears are cool. Yeah. And then you see this ranking. I'll let them keep going. No, you know what? This is my show. And then you see this ranking, and you're like, well, wait. I'm getting whiplash. Because for the last 2 months, I've been getting hit over the head with the idea that the Saints are 32nd in everything. But then as these rankings trickle out, they're not even bottom 5, much less 32nd. And then these teams that we keep getting told are on the up and up, they're ranked 32nd, 31st, 30th, 29th. So what's going on here? We've been ahead of this because, we kind of set our own rankings and whatnot. So we, I'm glad we were way ahead of the storm. But now that these are getting put out there, I think everyone else is kind of realizing, like, damn, maybe it's not as bad as we thought.
Interesting.
So DJ Moore, Rome Odunze.
That's a little bit.
They did draft Luther Burden, but he's not been there yet because of his contract.
Colson Loveland.
DeAndre Swift playing running back. They drafted Colson Loveland 10 overall.
I don't know if I agree with that one.
In 2024, the Bears came in at 6. In 2023, they were 17. And so they go all the way down to 25.
From 6 to 25, is that what he said? Whew, baby.
I don't know either because you got Colson Loveland, tight end from Michigan. You drafted top 10. You've got DeAndre Swift. You drafted Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers.
Hey, I'll give you a little spoiler alert. Ben Johnson is not going to use DeAndre Swift. Type in the Google machine what happened to DeAndre Swift whenever Ben Johnson was in Detroit. DeAndre Swift sell the stock. And here's something else that happens. So, like if you're just watching the NFL and then all of a sudden you see this list, you're like, well, Rome Odunze, sweet. Well, you go back and look at last year, Rome Odunze was not sweet. So when you're doing these kind of rankings, when you're looking at things, same one like Marvin Harrison Jr. Guy was not sweet. Okay, I'm not saying he's not good, but like last year, the view of Rome Odunze, the view of Marvin Harrison Jr. takes a big step back this year.
Really good player, tough runner. You drafted Luther Burden, again, contract situation, but he'll be there. You have Rome Odunze. You have DJ Moore.
DJ Moore's a dude.
DJ Moore also was average AF last year. I don't even know if I would say it was average. So all of a sudden now it's like, yeah, they got names similar to a lot of these other teams. It's like, yeah, they got names. Like the Patriots. You know, it's like, yeah, Stephon Diggs is a name, but I only get you so far.
Yeah, just the combination of Rome and DJ and Swift, that kind of puts you above 25, I believe.
Now, see, this is a great example of where Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, Rasheed Shaheed, or Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift. I'm not saying the Saints are far and away the choice there, but you can say they're similar, right? You can see where it's like, okay, it's kind of the same, kind of similar, the production, all right, I understand what's going on here. And that's been the whole point for 2 months, is that 32, 29, 30, 31, it belongs to teams like Cleveland. All right, teams with just nothing.
If you're asking my opinion.
And then we get to the New Orleans Saints at 24. So, I mean, look, all jokes aside, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You're ahead of some teams that have some pretty decent weapons. So it talks about your receiver room. You have Chris Olave. You have Rasheed Shaheed. You add Brandin Cooks. You have AK in the backfield. And then you have a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You have a Cam Akers. You
have Kendra Miller. You have Devin Neal.
Drafted Devin Neal from Kansas. So your running back room looks a lot better this year than it did a year ago. My only concern with everything they're saying here, Chris Olave, concussion history. Rasheed Shaheed, muscle tears, muscle pulls, muscle whatever, because, man, he's so explosive. That happens with a player like that. Brandin Cooks, he's a well-traveled vet. He's been in the game a long time. I mean, 2014, I think, was his rookie year?
Yeah.
I think the year I was in camp with the Saints was his rookie year.
He's, 31, 32 now?
I mean, yeah, and he's got a lot of miles on that bod. I mean, he's been through some injuries. He's played a long time. He's been involved in the game plan his entire career when he has been in there. But, to start out a season, to start out a game, I get it. You do.
Injuries are one of those things that you cannot handicap, you cannot quantify. I try and not factor it in because, you could say, well, take every team's under, take every player's under in every game because they could get injured. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it could, sure. You could roll an ankle, yeah, no doubt about it. But it's so random, it's so sporadic, it's very difficult. So I try and not handicap injuries. Some people do, but I just err that much randomness. I think you got to kind of put it to the side.
Have 3 good options at receiver. Now, tight end, you signed Juwan Johnson to a big deal. You have Boston Morrow coming back. Like Taysom Hill's going to miss the time because he got injured at the latter portion of last year.
You have like 9
so the weapons aren't bad. The running back room looks much better to me in the totality of the group. But, man, you are 1 injury away from having, as we said last year, Uber drivers out there.
True. And a lot of teams are in that situation, and it is what it is. Like, who do you think is the best receiver room in the NFL? I mean, let's just throw this out there. Philadelphia, probably the best playmakers. Saquon, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. But it's like, well, if Saquon gets hurt and A.J. Brown gets hurt, then what? It's like, yes, they would absolutely take a step back. No doubt about it, right? So, like, that's why I just don't buy into the injury thing.
Z at X.
Yeah, I'm listening to you name off that list. And, I mean, you listed off some pretty good teams. Like the Bills being at 29 or 30.
Yeah, but the Bills have been there for a while. Like Josh Allen has not had that much help. And I didn't read the Bills write-up, but I'm assuming the Bills write-up probably factored in the whole James Cook thing, where James Cook was in the contract dispute and all that stuff that's going on. So you're probably looking around like, damn, who's your best option? Like the Bills, and the Bills are a team too where for the last couple of years you get told, oh, well, they have Gabe Davis. Oh, well, they have Dalton Kincaid. Oh, well, they have whatever player over the last couple of years. And then they just don't really reach that. Like Gabe Davis had flashes like against the Chiefs, but it is what it is. Lamar Jackson went through that a lot to where, he's the receivers that they're asking to be great there, and then they just aren't great. So I'm not surprised at all that Buffalo's that low.
Something like that is shocking to me.
Well, you look at the receiver room, though, and it's like, what did Keon Coleman really do last year?
Right. I mean, their best guy was Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I mean, that was their most consistent
You've got Dalton Kincaid.
They got 2 good. They got Kincaid and Knox.
They signed Joshua Palmer from the Chargers. A 3.
I'm blanking on his name, though. The running back, great player.
I thought you meant Dawson Knox.
James Cook's great.
No, Kincaid and Knox are really good tight end duel.
You got Ray Davis, too, at running.
But see what I'm saying? It's like a lot of the players they're mentioning are in that same tier as a lot of the players that get mentioned for the Saints. And people hammer the Saints for Rasheed Shaheed, Brandin Cooks. But then you look at Buffalo, and yes, Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer. It's like, well, I mean, all right. Like you're talking about kind of the same level of player, if it was Madden, like the same level of ratings. And you can say, well, this guy's got upside, this guy's got this, whatever. We're just talking about pure production.
Back from Kentucky that played well last year as a rookie.
Well, one of the top teams in the NFL, you're just kind of shocked if you hear any of their position groups or groups to be that low, but good for the Saints fans. We are ahead. And of course, these rankings mean absolutely squat for.
Yeah, I mean, it's one guy's ranking. It's Bill Barnwell's ranking. It means nothing in the grand scheme of things
this year. But it's a reflection on the talent you have and what you've kind of done in the past. 24th. Guess the 2 words I would describe that as not bad. Not bad.
And so here's what I mean. So Chris Olave's backup is Bub Means. All right. Bub Means was a 5th-round selection, good college player. Don't know what he's going to be as a pro. Didn't see a lot last year. Brandin Cooks' backup is Kevin Austin Jr. Who is that?
Cold.
Good question. Rasheed Shaheed's backup, all right, is Cedric Wilson Jr. Cedric Wilson was a good NFL player, steady NFL player. It's been some years since he's been at his peak in the NFL. Other names you got, Dante Pettis, who was out of football.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. You take Dante Pettis, Cedric Wilson, Darnell Mooney, and Joshua Palmer, and throw them in a hat and pull a name out, and they're all the same player. If you're getting down to those players making an impact, you're in trouble.
Ball before he came back, and he had flashes last year, but he was out of football for a while before the Saints signed him. You got Mason Tipton, who I had to hear about all training camp long because he's going to be a breakout star. No, he's just the guy in training camp that every team has every single year, takes over training camp, gets a roster.
Yeah, I remember another guy I kept getting asked questions about was Samson Nakua. And it was like, do you think Samson Nakua can do this, this, and this? Is he the next Marcus Colston? It's like, brother, Samson Nakua will not make the team. Lo and behold, he did not make the team. So everybody can't be next. And that's for every team. Like this isn't just the Saints. Every team has this. Your fifth receiver on your depth chart, who, last name, cares? Like, focus on the starters, focus on your impact players. Same with the running back room with the Saints. I hope, and as far as I'm concerned, you got Alvin Kamara, whoever wins your backup running back role, and that's it. I don't care what we're seeing from the fourth-string running back. I don't care what we're seeing for the fifth-string running back. Last year, we heard all preseason camp, whatever, Jordan Mims. I got bad news for you. If Jordan Mims is getting carries, we are cooked right now. Marcus Yarns. I keep saying stuff about him. Listen, if Marcus Yarns is getting a high amount of carries, we are cooked. You do not want to dig into your bag of tricks that far. Like, they are there for a reason. Last year, same thing. Mason Tipton, Bub means they can do this, they can do that. Nah. We need Chris Olave to do this, and we need Rasheed Shaheed to do that. We're missing them. We're cooked. We need to have a backup center just in case if we get to the backup center, we're cooked. Cincinnati. Jake Browning's looking pretty good. But Joe Burrow goes down, they're cooked. Man, Huntley is a great backup in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson goes down, they're cooked.
Spot, and you don't really hear from him again. I hope we do. I hope I can raise my hand and be like, I was wrong about Mason Tipton. I don't think I will be. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Been a long time since we've really heard anything of note from him. So that's my point is I like Olave, Cooks, and Shaheed. That's great. But it's Means and Austin Jr. and Wilson Jr. and Tipton and Pettis that you don't love with the injury history that the first three receivers that we've talked about, because all three of those guys have had major injuries in their career. Behind AK, it does look better. It's Kendre Miller, if he can get his head on straight and be fully involved. Devin Neal, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers. I even like Marcus Yarns. That's somebody that is an undrafted free agent, but he had a hell of a Senior Bowl coming from Delaware. I think he's a good player.
Let me ask you this. Just take just from an athlete and a former football player's mindset and standpoint. You talk about the injuries, which were such a big deal last year, and specifically with this receiving group. We have the talent with the top guys, and just like you said, but if we're one injury away from really trying to grab for straws on that. But you go in a season where head coaching change, you're not doing good. There's not success. When you get hurt in a situation like that, what incentive, mentally, whether it's subconscious or consciously, how hard are you really pushing to get back from an injury and get yourself well to get on the field in a terrible situation? Yeah. There's going to be a wholesale change on the whole staff. Yeah. You're not good. What are you going out there and risking more injury and more turmoil to your future?
If he's talking about last year, that's absolutely worth a question. I've told the story before. It has nothing to do with what he's talking about. But when I was a reporter, we installed a new system, to type. You don't just type when you're a reporter, newspaper, or when you didn't just type in Word. You had to type in the specific software to get it on the copy and get it on the paper or whatever. And we installed this brand new complicated ass system. And I knew I was leaving. I knew I was quitting and moving to a different job. So I didn't even attempt to learn it. I didn't even for a second, because I was I'm leaving. I don't need this. I'm not even worried about this. I'm not going to stress myself out with this. I'm out of here. I'll deal with whatever later on. I would assume last year, if you're, and I'm not saying this actually happened, but if you're Chris Olave or Rasheed Shaheed, and our season's over, we're getting a whole new coaching staff, we're getting a whole new whatever. The people in this building that I'm talking to, the doctors, the staff, the coaches, the whatever, they're about to be gone. So I'm not concerned about busting my ass to get back for this coach to make an impression. I'll just wait, get my body right for the next coach to come in, and then I'll let it rip. All you can do is guess about how that plays out, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if players think like that, for sure.
Future contracts.
Now, if we're talking about this year, the answer is obviously for Chris Olave, his answer is his next contract. Most of the time players are thinking, okay, well, I'm in a contract year, or I got to get off this sinking ship. The only way I can do that is be really, really good. And if I'm really, really good this year, maybe I get traded, maybe I get a big contract, whatever.
I would say there was probably not a lot. So, and you see the veterans out there.
Yeah, you're talking about last year. Yeah,
but why would I fight to get back on the field when we're not going to make the playoffs or this or that? Yeah, I know they're paying you a lot of money and you're under contract to go do a job, but still,
I mean, you're a human being. Yeah.
Most football players play hurt the entire season. At some point, you're never the first day of training camp is the only day where you're not going to be in pain of some sort. Now, playing hurt and playing injured is a completely different thing.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever completely healthy. But if there's no incentive, like last year, it was an awful situation. It was awful to be a Saints fan, to watch them, and I'm sure it wasn't much better inside that locker room. So when you are injured, how much emphasis did they either subconsciously or consciously put into actually getting back on the field?
Yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying, raising the question here. We have struggled with injuries. But if you're in a better situation,
well, they also, we know Kellen Moore and his entire staff is emphasizing recovery, training. It's a whole new approach. So I don't know if it's going to knock down the percentages of injuries. I don't know, but I do know they're at least accounting for it.
Like the coach you're playing for, the offense, you think you can succeed, you're going to push yourself a little bit harder to get back on the field.
It's a good point. And, sometimes the organization's like, hey, we've won 5 games. We're in week 16. I'd love for you to be back. I know you want to be back.
Yeah, chill.
Well, let's don't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, just chill.
Chris Olave, you've had concussions. And, do we want to risk another concussion in week 17 of a season that's already lost? Those are conversations we don't know, but we do know they've had injuries, and it has been a part of their history in their career. And when you're counting on them to stay healthy, that is worrisome. You like the initial weapons, but you don't like what happens if those weapons go down.
Eternal darkness. Yeah, I mean, and this, like I said throughout this video, but this is kind of what we have been harping on, where it's just when you look at everything, you look at the metrics, you look at the players, you look at the roster, you look at all this. I'm not saying they're going to be good. All right. What I'm saying is this idea, this copy and paste, 30-second, worst team, F minus, whatever. The evidence doesn't really support it. Could it happen? Sure. We could get hurt. We could get injuries. Yeah, players could not develop, whatever. No doubt. But as of right now, when you look at all this stuff, it's just not adding up. It's just not adding up to the worst team in the NFL, dumpster fire. It's not adding up to, 1-16 or 2-15 or 0-17. Like, it's not adding up to all that. I've seen some really bad teams over the course of the last couple decades. And those teams, find a way to get 2, 3, 4, 5 wins. So, yeah, the light. People are seeing the light, ladies and gentlemen. All right, going down to the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.